nowhere to run. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there.
They'll be here before too long. We darn near celebrated when the kid got back, didn't we? Zolf never thought he'd see a fellow Ura again. We become fast friends. Calamity has that effect on people. But there was more to be done. There was one last core to find. Kid's surprised when I tell him there's only one core left. I shouldn't have believed it either. Most of the Ura never got a taste of Caelondia's fine goods, unless they were born and raised in the city like Zia here. Girl tried to run away from home one time, but the marshals stopped that, didn't they? So many secrets in there and she can't even read it. Her father's own journal. If only I'd known half the secrets of the Calamity were tucked away in that book, I'd have worked to translate it right away. A scientific journal written in Zolf's native tongue. He learned so much from it. Too much. The Bastion ain't gonna build itself. Well, not entirely. The memorial. Here a kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction. Just another one of my sketches. Nothing more. Words can't express what happened, but they're all I got. We tracked the final core beyond the city to the wilds. That's the edge of the wilds, where Jawson and his boys disappeared. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. Trappers stash their spare repeaters around here. Just in case. Savage things lurking at every turn. Pincushions ain't the worst of it either. Pecker's got the core, like they're building a bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. They shouldn't have let their guard down. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Kid takes a last look around, 'cause he ain't coming back. Wallflowers survive the Calamity. Best take it real slow when pincushions are afoot. Kid learned the hard way not to touch those things. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. A handful of Windag shipments made it out this far. Slinger Johnson's old outpost is all that's left of him. Kid's faster than a slinger with those guns. Kid's roused up half the wild by now. Then Kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and he only make him mad. Kid's got more needles in him than a stab weed. Hardly any signs of the old Jocelyn camp. Sees a smooth black stone coughed up by the calamity. He's seeing plenty more. Anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says. But I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped. Started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. The lost and found. Here, Kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Points just don't get any sharper than that. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. The less said about Drawson Bog, the better. That place will eat your mind. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Drawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, it's somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. There and welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of Hououin. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, pineapples, swamp weeds, ankle beaters. Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Ceylondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty succeeds where the calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Ronde the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning, It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Pith, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friends. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers stick their nasty thorns into his heels. Disgusting things. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. The breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, a kid prunes it down the side somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. That ought to give those dueling pistols a little extra kick. The slingers, the wilds were their calling. The gravers, the arm of justice, they seemed unstoppable. Been meaning to put up some guardrails. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Rothless Lagoon, even the brushers stopped going there. Didn't like being eaten. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothless Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. These beasts, they don't like company. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. Brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pin cushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the queen's running out of options. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. The kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping lunkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. That old gator's right on his tail. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? They use a kid as bait. The shard's sitting in plain view. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. Made him mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Cinder brick stout sure goes down smooth, then stays in your gut like a rock. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. That gator's a crazy gal, but so's the gal who promised to look after her. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Point Lemaine's Grand Rail once brought the riches of the wild right to our doorstep. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The Army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. Grand Rail on Point Lemaine. Not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand Rail's all grown over with things the Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Can't let a few of them slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail. What with wallflowers, coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. Of course, the Grand Rails see much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Caelondian War. It was right here that Zulf's forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the earth to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid It's still got one good run in store for me. All the rotten wood there on the rails turn it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While shooting a genuine registered army carbine? While choking on swamp weed? While peckers trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. It's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower, pincushion, mind you. At first he thinks it's Zulf. This is for you, says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wondered just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. The shards are getting harder to find. No risk of Culford Cauldron ever erupting again, they used to say. Guess they were wrong. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Culford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Culford Cauldron. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. dusted off a good many secrets out here, but we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. Taste the air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. It's awful hot in there. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. After all, when we look down inside Culvert Cauldron, look down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Johnson Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. But where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city, but all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. He comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. The kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. The arsenal's complete in case we need protection. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Not much left of Mount Zan nowadays. It's like a cross between a zoo and a prison break.